But it was not your fault but mine, and it was your heart on the line.
In the lobby of the municipal center and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Move to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Here. Present.
Here.
Here. So we have one revision to the agenda.
Yes, Mayor, that's correct. There was an item added for closed session, so that agenda was actually modified earlier today. Just wanted to point it out to the council who had a closed session agenda item. Additionally, there is one to be, bring full resolution R 22-417 from the consent agenda.
All right, thank you. I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of December 6, 2022, the regular meeting.
So moved.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. All right, next is public hearing, sidewalk appeal. Ty and Galley, Kindred 38 Leonard Avenue. Let's go up to the microphone, please. Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good. I could just thanks for coming this evening.
Thanks for having me.
You could just give us your name and address for the record into the microphone, please.
Sure. My name is Ty Kibron. It will be pretty Leonard Avenue, which is.
No, whichever, no.
Thanks for having me tonight, and great to see you all. And I appreciate your time and consideration. I have to say, very impressed with the late night that you guys are going. So it's very good living in the town like this, where everybody works very hard. So thank you very much. As you know, I'm living in a new house in 38 Leonard Avenue, and as part of the possible course of action, usually the sidewalks in front of the houses get elevated because they will get damaged by a lot of construction happening. My house is no different. My request here today is to get approval for not putting in the new sidewalk in front of my house. And I'd like to before permission for the reason and rationale behind that.
Go ahead, please.
First of all, I don't know if we have the letter that before, but
Is this the letter dated November 18th?
yes, but I have a now. It's
Oh,
yes, I added something to the map to report for the discussion. That's along. So first of all, I live about 30 minutes on the south side of Leonard Avenue, to Cold and Street, at the end of which is a park. And the other side is Tenafly Avenue, or road. I think it's called Tenafly Road. The school. There are 10 houses on the south side of Leonard Avenue, and my house is literally in the middle of the block. Only in front of 4 houses there's a side. My house is one of those 4. It's incomplete, meaning if you want to walk over to Tenafly Road, which is where most people would want to walk to, there's no way for them to do that. There is no sidewalk. After my house, is the dead end of the sidewalk. There's no way for anyone to walk to that side to get to the house. On the flip side, if I go to the park, same way. The sidewalk doesn't go all the way to the park. So in a way, there's a piece of concrete in front of four houses that leads nowhere and serves nothing, really. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, 2 houses on the block. One immediately to my east, 30 Leonard Avenue, got approval on the town, not to put the sidewalk that was more than 10 years ago. That's what we're wondering from the doing. And then the new house, 62 Leonard Avenue, at the end of the street, that's a house that was completed just a year and a half ago. In fact, last week, that house on the agenda, asking for its trees that are back. And that house, you quite like, has much greater frontage on the avenue than I ended up at the biggest spot on the block. No sidewalk in front of the house, so I'm just asking for equal treatment compared to everybody else. Last item, which is something I did yesterday, because, one of the reasons we wanted to delay, the decision from last week, was also get that feedback from those of yourself and see it. I hope many of you have. I have as well, and I walked up and down that street, over the last couple of days. And I wanted to, and this relates to the black arrows that I've marked here on the houses. These three houses, these three vertical black lines, basically represent very high bushes and trees that go all the way to the edge of the street. I apologize, my friend was acting out on me. I can pass it along if you want to take a look. This is two different pictures of two different houses, basically standing on the corner of the sidewalk and the street. And as you can tell, there's no way for anyone to walk and get to the road without actually walking on the street itself, which is a danger. Look, I've got 3 kids. We're all very kids more than anything else in the world. I want to move from high school. I want to go to the middle school. I want to go to the elementary. They were specific orders not to walk on our side of the street to the school. If you can tell one of the bushes, you just hide, is a car, and they say they roll, you walk there, hop on the street, you get around the bush. It's very dangerous. So I think having a sidewalk there can potentially create the expectation and illusion that it's safe to walk there, that this is where you should walk if you're going to try and get to Tenafly Road and just hold up your second standpoint. It's not a message, I would think, just in the current situation of the street. That's not where we would want people to walk on the street. I will also note that on the second there, there's a full and complete sidewalk that goes the full length of the street and takes it all the way to Tenafly. And if you visit there, especially on a weekend, people also come to the park and enjoy it. That's where everybody walks. They walk on the side, away from walking south, at least not saying. So, the spirit of common sense and the spirit of equity, in the spirit of just pure safety, because it is a dangerous situation. That is sums up my beliefs. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, yes, thank you for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Those who have questions, do you have questions?
That's a question for, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think the question is more, a process, I asked at the last meeting and an email to the fire community in last meeting, for having a representative of the building department, here, so. I don't understand why the property word and take why others word. And even, as far as the trees that are, I appreciate with that, I would think that, that community, right away, should be, profile. So,
So,
Okay, there's a code enforcement would not be DPW, the enforcement, that is that, but I'll let Jimmy answer.
Sure, and I don't think that we should go further until we get this out of the department here.
so then you stepped away from this question, but you talked about having the building department, some general questions, or specific questions about the process, how things get where they are.
Specific to this,
There's been most of that.
if the council wishes to do so, that, perfectly fine.
I made clear in the email that it was prior to the last meeting, that should be what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was a request, but I wasn't sure if this was the consensus. You know, the consensus one way or the other, but if that's the consensus, absolutely.
Julie, what?
I have no problem with the request. I did just, it was my, drill down on one of the questions. Do we know what anybody, any chance know when the people with the investment installing the sidewalk? this is, you know, one of the identified as concerns, do you know that answer?
I don't know.
That there was no sidewalk there to begin with?
I don't know the answer to any of those questions, so that we would have to look at the construction records of house owners to do.
And the other thing is, you know, so we all do like the resident, and we shouldn't be depending on the residents, the first report. So what's going on, we shouldn't find out from the residents that they're 30, no, 30, Leonard Avenue, 10 years ago. You know, we should have something here, so we can add.
Well, I mean, if that's what the council wants, bring the building department in. Bring,
In the Board of Adjustment, we've had questions like this, we do. Bring them in because you have a discrepancy here. We want to know from the source why. Either this property was exempted, did it never have it, was it just they did the construction and then nobody raised questions about removal. We're officially involved.
okay, so, go ahead.
There was no mechanism for exemption. Mechanism for the appeal process instituted by this property.
Again, that's actually,
So it raises the question, what happened 10 years ago? That really gets to the heart of it. But, yes, I was here, but I don't know if that house came before the planning board. I don't have any memory of that.
I wouldn't know that it is, but well, before the board just.
And I don't remember that property coming to the planning board.
It's because of 62, right?
But,
I would remember that issue.
yeah, in 10 years, it was, what was it, 30 or 62? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So it sounds like we have to do some more work and we're going to you've raised a lot of questions. Okay, probably more than you wanted to raise, but you've raised a lot of questions about some other things and why what's going on.
Can I ask the question?
Go ahead, of course.
Chairman, and welcome to the community. I'm glad it's coming because. But if you are doing, you know, some more just talking about the process, does he have to come back again? Or is it the type of thing where we can discuss one way or the other? I mean, is it the type of thing where I imagine you have to come in from New York at the time, right? But I'm just trying to be fair to give this gentleman an answer. You know, if more information will help. I just don't know if he has to keep coming back.
Why don't we do this? Let Jimmy, the borough administrator, do his homework internally.
Yeah.
With the light, with the view towards the inspector coming here. But then by the time the inspector comes here, perhaps we could all get information about what's actually going on, before we even show up. Okay, and we can determine whether the resident needs to come back, when he needs to come back.
I really like Lucas' point that we have this thing called Zoom I've heard of.
We can do a Zoom meeting, you can come in on the.
I mean, he's coming twice.
So let's do it that way.
If I make a statement, clearly I don't live here, you do. I think it'd be hard for us to find any student identifying that has consistent sidewalk along the entire. Most 90+% figure on patches of sidewalk. And then so the point that many did not have a letter having this is I guess town hall or that has been existing for one of the who knows? I just don't want to get into finding all process very but from Google and I don't want to get caught in that vortex.
No, I don't think you're gonna get caught in that vortex, so you're coming here to the city. I get in the city also, the sidewalks everywhere. We're actually neighbors. I live on Hamilton Place right next to the building school. On the last house on my street that has sidewalk, but both sides have sidewalks going to Tenafly Road. But then after all the houses built after a certain date, none of them have sidewalks. So, but we have this kind of argument going back and forth about should we have more sidewalks, less sidewalks? So it's an ongoing thing. You're in a vortex that already exists that you did not create. So it's an ongoing, very passionate discussion. But let me ask you, just a detail, actually, building brand new house. Okay. Has the sidewalk been removed yet, or is it still there?
It's there, but it's completely broken.
Okay, I just want to
It
get
will have to be replaced. One, something's not happening.
understood. And so, Councilman Michael's brought a good point. You can come to the next meeting via Zoom. And that's acceptable to you.
That's fine. Again, I just also want that my request here, the review, not just from the context of what the Department of Building is doing, but they have raised other points on safety and,
Yeah.
that. Also, an important topic for everybody.
No, the safety, it plays into the bushes going right to the street.
Right.
That's right. That's, so you raised kind of a little bit of a broad issue.
And to some extent, just order knowledge, like our council said previously, that if you have, if I've been in another block where I've actually had to call code enforcement because the bush is so far too over into the sidewalk and then forced me into the street, I do walk over it. So, that is something that's not allowed either. So.
Okay, so unless the council has further questions or comments, we're gonna do some more homework internally. And then, we have contact information, right? You have all the details, so you're able to communicate, email, cell phone, whatever. So, okay, we'll let them know we're gonna have the next meeting on the agenda. Yes. Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
And happy holidays. Well, we're not going back to the public.
I think, what was that? Will we get back to before the holidays or?
Oh, you will, we will definitely get back to you. And we're not, so the question, we will absolutely get back to you. We'll get back to you before the end of this year, probably sometime next week.
Okay.
We will not have another meeting on this topic, though. The earliest it would be January 10th. Okay, that's the next meeting. But we'll get back to you before that with the information. Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just notified that there's another revision to the agenda.
Which is,
There's another resolution that to be pulled is, sorry. Do you want R22-413?
except the discrepancy in the price
Yeah.
between the quotes and vendors. Susan, is that what that is?
Yes, we're waiting for something.
Okay, so we were trying to resolve that discrepancy. We did not. We have. Yes.
That kind of made to 414 all of the.
I would defer to Susan, but I don't believe it needs to be full. It's just the actual numbers. There's a discrepancy in 413 for.
Yeah, the discrepancy is for the specific piece of equipment itself, not the
project.
not the project.
The other one is for the engineer.
Correct.
Right.
And then just before we vote on the the pre-mitigation items number 415 and 416. I think.
415 being full.
Right, I know, so let's say something there. So there was a change made to 394 where the date was added. For when you get over one thing, you know, we should have it for all the trees working where, you know, we establish or when the.
My apologies, but that was the direction that was most oversight, but I'll be sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because 415 and 416, both of them didn't have it, so. I don't know if it's just not. All.
No, my apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, my apologies.
That
I'll
makes
make sure you don't put it.
Thank you.
It helps with perspective.
Would you like for those to remain in the agenda?
Yeah, I'm sure, right. You know.
Okay, we're in public comment time. Audience members wishing to speak will have a 3-minute time limit to address the governing body. Large groups are asked to have a spokesperson represent. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak Omar, do you see any present here or online?
For those members of the area council chamber, and usually in person.
Okay, we're gonna close public comment time. Okay, can I please have a motion on the consent agenda to approve R 22-394 through R 22-412, R 22-414, and R 22-416 through R 22-422.
So moved.
Can I have a second, please? Omar, would you please read the roll?
Yes.
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 Dr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. So moving on to old business is the 2023 meeting format. We had some suggestions a couple of meetings ago, or last meeting at the table, in terms of reorganizing meeting format, when we could have work sessions, when we could have public sessions. And there's been some additional thought on that, to basically the thinking is evolved to first, and Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong on this, the first meeting of the month will be a work session. And if we have some sort of emergency thing, particularly emergency bill that has to be paid, we would have a public session for that item only, at that first meeting. And then the second meeting of the month will be simply a public meeting. Much like this,
No third meeting.
with no third meeting. The idea is we do our business on the first meeting, figure out which way we're going, and discuss things. We have an emergency, we pay those that way if we need to. And the second meeting is strictly a public meeting.
And part of the reason for, I was talking about the change, the only reason is that our ordinances require us at the first meeting of the month to have a work session. It's not discretionary, it's a shall. Unless it's a public holiday or we cannot get a quorum, then I think that that's the problem. So rather than sitting there on an experiment, changing the ordinance, let's try this. It doesn't require any change to ordinances or modification.
Okay, you think we should do it for the entire year, this way, or you think part of the year as a trial?
I would think we just set it forward as this is the new arrangement, and then if we find 2 or 3 months that it doesn't work, we alter it. This way we have a certainty to it, and we change gears. Since we're not changing ordinances, we can change.
Borough attorney.
Not the way I remember the ordinance, so I just wanted to make sure. So it says the work session will be on Tuesday preceding. So it doesn't contemplate it as 2 weeks in between necessarily. It does, I also wanted to note for the record, we're not out of compliance because it also gives the ability, which really, as Council President indicated, I think was originally meant to be more moving for holidays, but it does say we're such a time as notice. So you're not completely out of compliance or anything,
That's
it's
good.
just not the way it's intention.
So can you verbalize what you think we're proposing?
I'd like to make sure you're.
I'm absolutely fine. I will clarify though. So the proposal would be that the second Tuesday of the month be a work session where action it'll be advertised as action may be taken. So that if you need to adopt a bill or have something that's emergent, put on an agenda that requires action, it can be part of that meeting. And then the fourth Tuesday of the month, absent any changes based on scheduling, will be a regular meeting where you would now take action on the items that you need to be added to the agenda at that prior work session. Meetings where you have decided to have one, which is historically your July and August meeting, and now will also from the last session be February and April. That would have to be similar to the format that you had previously been operating, where you have a work session and then a regular meeting.
So there's no fewer meetings. The hope is that there are shorter.
Correct.
Correct.
Sounds like one long one, one short.
Correct.
Well, there are.
Well, I don't think there's one law. I think it was.
The work
It works it's as long as it would be normally here. It's not gonna be a long meeting. It's gonna be.
Couldn't possibly get longer.
Correct, just keeping it one work session a month, and then the other one would only be a regular meeting, so more likely than not, you may have more items that you're gonna want to consider at that work session, because you won't be bringing them under consideration at the next meeting.
But it was, at least,
Well, I mean, they're actually having fewer meetings. Because each of those in the work session are both separate meetings, so we're going to 4 meetings down to 2.
Attendance the same number of times.
Yes, and but the other thing is, we're going from, would normally be, let's say, 7:30, whenever, 9 o'clock on 2 days. To now, having the same, full agenda, for 2 meetings, compressed. So we have to just be aware that, like, part of that,
Which implies that your work session will likely be a little longer, because you'll have more items to consider at a time.
Right, but each twice, the work session being longer, we're still, capped by the 11 o'clock.
Correct.
So how does that work?
You either, as we have had to do in the past, you either have resolutions for Q&A, or if you put them on as a whole business item, and your regular meeting at the next meeting. But it won't be on, if you haven't discussed it, it's not going to be on for adoption. And that would be the same if you decided to just have action meetings every time. If something is on as new business, it's not going to be voted on that.
No, I mean, I get the, I understand that. For the public and involved, what we're doing that.
And what I would suggest, rather than only advertising it for a few meetings, if you all find that you don't like this format, you can amend your annual notice or re-advertise in a different place for the rest of the year at any time. That's an option available at any time.
it sounds like we're all agreeing with this.
Just for clarity, and schedule. So for example, our first meeting is January of next year, so that will be a work session, right? And then January will be a work session.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
I would just caution that when you advertise the work sessions, to advertise it actually be taken in case you, that way you don't have to do a special meeting to follow.
That Omar,
And then also allow for the closed session.
so
I'm sorry to raise that.
Yeah.
An interesting point, it's actually one that I haven't encountered before, but I can certainly get back to you on it. It's not something I've had to ever confirm.
Okay. And so, Omar, I think, the detail of this should be a conversation between yourself, Jimmy, and Wendy, so that everyone's expectations are aligned. Yes, it is.
One last thing about, your meeting, and I think what, one of the things that can, if you don't get, property application prior to, a good application that we can, look at and, understand, which is why when it comes to the, meetings, they're all questions. Because we're just being told something right at that meeting. So I would ask that any between your agenda item on the agenda should provide full information. As soon as possible.
Okay, fair enough. I did.
If that doesn't happen, I think that.
I just want to make there for lowering the idea of how we can get this more street.
That's which one. I appreciate everyone's input in the doing. Okay.
Just on after meeting 3, then happens, but if by saying that action may be taken, so if our CFO has just bills that need to be taken, we can do that.
Correct.
That's probably the most important
Yeah.
thing that we would be doing
5 days.
I'll make sure that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, committee reports. Dan, Jeff,
Planning board met last night on 25 George Street, that was seeking minor subdivision. The lot size was sufficient to divide into 2 lots, so the question was lot width. They were proposing 50, while 75 is required, 59 is the average for that area. But they did demonstrate that many of the lots there were 50. This was very much in the neighborhood, and that it would actually reduce flooding problems, because they were going to, even with 2 houses, they were going to reduce the impervious coverage by 500 square feet. Because the current house is fairly big and has a very large driveway with a big turnaround in the back and separate garage. So it's close to 6,000 square feet of impervious. They're taking it down to about 5,500 combined with 2 properties. So it's pretty complex.
That's interesting, you're putting up that is actually.
And so there was really no reason to deny it.
I think there was one neighbor.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
It was.
Yes.
I'm sorry. But that's almost.
Okay.
And how about the gateway?
Ah.
Anything else, Jeff?
That is it.
Vanilla? No. Adam?
Had a good recreation board meeting last night. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for explaining some of that. We had an update from the AE at Tenafly High School. You know, I think we all realize that we don't have enough field space. I know because council's never heard that before. You know, I appreciate very much that Joe is trying to make it work, but X number of people and a smaller space. So we're trying to work through some of that. That was probably the biggest part of the record. You know, department, you know, and I don't approach to the public to kind of continue to share, particularly with the school board, since they have a big driver of decision making on that, to kind of share their feelings on. So that was the record with the biggest meeting. The only other thing is this Wednesday, 2 o'clock, I believe, is Skating with Santa. Literally, I think it's 3:30. Sorry, 3:30. 3:30. Secretly, I want to spend some time with Dan on the skating rink, but now we're doing that. Thank you. 3:30, right by the police station, by the basketball courts. 380 people already signed up.
What time is that run to?
3:30 to 5:30. So just an amazing job that the rec department putting together. I'd love to see that. That's it. Continue all the programs and sports continue to be oversubscribed as well, which is great. You know, keep helping our residents out. So that's it.
Thank you. Julie?
Yeah, so I keep reporting on the Board of Health. So Mr. Mayor, you can include in your mayor's message, in the Board of Health, that COVID vaccination rates are kind of low to get to encourage people that they're vaccinated. On your mayor's message.
You want me to include that on my management?
Yeah.
Encouraging people to get vaccinated for COVID.
Right.
Okay.
What?
It's
So look at the
different
that's the one. In our previous 2 flu vaccine clinics, the total of 49 vaccines that are given. We're planning to have a 3rd flu clinic this year. The clinics are run by a heart. We're hoping that we'll have the CVS in town partnering with us to provide a flu clinic next year. Also, one more thing, for Mr. Mayor, there's a message, the weekend message. It was requested if you could include a message about pedestrian safety and whether it's getting darker earlier. Other towns have the message on their town signs that how people should walk facing traffic, wear light clothing, have illumination.
And our health officer and Midburg and health director Kelly Grifo just came on board with your grant. They're going to be writing an article for the upcoming town newsletter about pedestrian safety tips. So that people can read that from the newsletter. Last thing for you know, I'd like to share with the mayor and council that our health inspector, Ruby Tara, she must receive better communication with the building department. So she needs to inspect before a certificate of occupancy is granted. For example, we have a restaurant that is not going to be allowed to have customers eating now. Because the only located where customers have to log communication. So without finding a customer bathroom, you're not allowed to have customers eating. And this would have been addressed before they moved in. Our health inspector has been planned. But I understand there, you know, the remedy that is going to be happening in Alicia, our HR director, will be Ruby in advance. You know, having her get the plans, Mari's building secretary, she'll be providing Ruby now. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of this issue, another important communication, and I imagine being probably made aware of this situation, but our health inspector really needs to make plans for voting before they're establishing before they're going to see. And that was about it. And the health board of health has also recommended removing some of those pest control boxes that we talked about previously called SGAR, pest control type black box poison, and research on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is probably for you, Jimmy. Now, I know that at Halloween, our police department got glow sticks and rec department does stuff. Maybe because that's at the beginning of the season, it starts to get dark early. Maybe next year, they're talking about giving away the little reflector bands that can go around the coast, something that will make pedestrians more visible. So those sticks are nice, they're cool, but they last. This is one shot thing. This could be for the season.
I asked the borough administrator to during committee reports report on topics. Council.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, with CFO's assistance, at the last meeting, there was consensus with regards to replacement of the broken playground equipment at Bobby Park. There are currently partial funds existing that we can use for this purchase. And for the remaining funds, it would be about $7,800 to about $8,000. We wanted to recommend a financial mechanism to be able to purchase the remaining funds, roughly about $8,000. So if that's okay, Mayor, CFO, I'll make that recommendation.
That's why you're waving. Just stating the name of the record. Future generations. So.
We're going to take fun when we go.
It's 7,800 and change. So that makes sense.
I thought that this project was, this is going to be funded project from some sort of grant. I thought that was.
This one now.
And why are we doing this? Because there's something broken?
Right.
You've got yellow tape around it.
And how much is the total cost of
The replacement, 12,000.
do we have a lunch? Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
And so those approvals and that's coming in meeting in January for consideration.
Okay, next item.
And then the other item, and I apologize for the turnaround, but it was a little difficult with the consecutive meetings and the consecutive weeks. I provided everyone with the the recommendations from the recreation director, with regards to the grant opportunity for recreation beautifying fields. There's three recommendations, and just to highlight for one, the project number 3, Little Field, while it's not a borough-owned field, that was my request to just, because I know that it does need some improvement, that's not a borough-owned field. So I just wanted to.
If I may ask a question about that, if I take project 3 first, if it's not a borough-owned deal, is that something where the people who are in charge of that field are the ones who have to apply for this grant then?
Yeah, these schools are eligible for this grant, so if they wanted to, though, they could.
But we really can't, go to communities and ourselves with, in order to have them.
No, and well, yeah, and then, well, this is, I mean, there's no decision needed tonight, just wanted to, make that available to the council since there's, not timely at this moment. The deadline for the grant is January 20th. January, so I didn't want to, I want to have it, for consideration at as many meetings as possible for discussion and thought, so no decision needed tonight.
So do we just, I appreciate that, I do remember this time last year ago, we were in municipal, the option 2.
Yep.
I remember discussions about that, because it was kind of in that little circle of pattern of trying to get the matching grant that still meant that we had to spend, that they're about 50,000 of our own. That doesn't give me, just because we always want to make decisions in the light, do we have, is it possible to get updated, and a lot of things been done by all years? How much would be entailed in getting our updated numbers? Because it could have changed $10,000. This is the thing we should know what we're voting on.
That's fair, I get that, that's, I think.
Anyway, that's one thing, I'm just throwing it there. Okay.
No, I love your idea of taking action. I would say, again, it's,
I mean, it might be a no vote, we just would have to know.
and I would argue we actually don't have much time, so we're not having another meeting till the 10th,
Yeah.
and it's on the 20th. So my recommendation would be, unless there's a third option, I'd have them actually write up 2 of them, get quotes, see what it's gonna cost, then bring it to the 10th meeting, do an up or down vote on one of those 2, unless there's a third.
No, if I just to add for number 2, the quote, we should be releasing that next week, but I think it will be.
Get an update.
For number 1, number 2, I will ask for that as well.
So, and let's bring them both right up to the meeting on, such that we could do an up or down vote.
I'm going to make one comment about item 2. Just my own, I absolutely assert you get close for further discussion. But one of the things I like about question number project 1 over to project 2, project 1 actually adds more activities and things the residents do. For project number 2, is simply maintenance, will not actually increase any of the experience with residents. So
Yeah.
I'm biased towards project 1. Any other questions on those?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
All right, it's time for mayor's remarks. 2 things I want to comment about. Councilman Michael made a comment before about the victims of our own success, which is fabulous for the whole recreation basketball program. It is just absolutely exploding in terms of membership and people wanting to be involved. One of the challenges we're having is court time, and we're communicating with other municipalities around us and organizations, schools, to get additional indoor courts. So if anyone hears about anything, we're working the phones, letting me know if you hear anything. I'll be happy to reach out to different organizations trying to negotiate court space for the rec basketball program for all ages. Okay.
I thought Council President Grossman had a half court on his driveway, if you want to start doing it.
It's near the school, so
And it's near the.
probably charges too much money.
Okay. The second comment for something to make is Today I went to the senior center luncheon. It was held in the canvas room, and of course, Michelle and Trish organized the whole thing. There were about 100 seniors there. Food was served from TPR, dessert. There was a live band. As always, our senior center is doing an excellent job, and the 100 seniors that were there had a wonderful time. So I just want to say a public thank you to Michelle and Tricia and her whole team. With that in mind, can you read the closed session language? Counselor?
Resolution R 22-423. At a regular meeting of the mayor and council of the borough of Tenafly, County, Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on December 13th, 2022. The mayor and council of the borough of Tenafly deemed it necessary to close session for certain matters very sensitive to the public. Be it resolved, the mayor and council of the borough of Tenafly will now convene in a closed session that will be limited to consideration of items with respect to the public may be excluded pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. General nature of the subject to be discussed in this session to the follows: potential property acquisition, matter involving the potential. Minutes will be taken in the meeting and review the public at this time when the matter is resolved.
Have a motion to go to close, please. So moved. Second. Second. All in favor? Okay, let's go inside. Okay, maybe.
Didn't I, Mom?